What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Pretty Perspective podcast.
A place where we bring light to hard shit. I feel like notebooks hold energy, and I was gonna just use this one, but this is like my prayer and like journal, and like, no, I just
You
can't.
can't spill over into a different one.
No, this is my podcast and like research.
You did the right thing.
Almost empty. It's almost done. I'm so excited. I have like
Ah,
two like or three, no, two new notebooks. I can't wait. Anyways, yeah.
and filling notebooks is such an accomplishment. Like, what a win. Like, if you guys have never, well, I don't know, whatever. If I don't know if we just jump on, but um, keeping track of your journals is like time warp, like time warping. It's so weird.
I
Because you're
cannot.
like, I don't know, for me, like I don't ever remember writing anything down, and then I go and I read it, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
You mentioned that last week, and I was gonna bring it up, but I just like there, I just didn't. I just didn't feel like there was a good time.
Oh yeah,
I cannot. I keep them. I cannot read them.
really? You've never gone back and read through them again?
I have, and I feel like it's traumatizing because I don't know her. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know her. I feel sorry for her. I I'm scared for her. Like, girl, what is going on with you? Like, and like you said, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I
How
keep
interesting. How interesting.
and I started
I want to say something to that, but you didn't ask for advice. So I mean, I think that that's fascinating. It's similar to when I couldn't go back and like rewatch these episodes. Like you were like, I need somebody else to like watch these with me, and I'm like, for why though? For why do I need to watch myself do this again? Because I totally get it. I mean, I get it, but I'd rather read about me than listen to me talk.
interesting. For me, it's more of the time that's passed.
You don't like that you see that time has passed?
No, it's like it's just so hard to I'm just very much okay with the fact that I'm a different person, and it's hard to read the stuff that past Lindsay wrote and thought. It's like it's just very uncomfortable for me because I've moved on.
Do you think you,
Ugh.
do
Ugh.
you think, yeah, yeah, because I want to talk about that part. I want to talk about the part because that's trying to actually tell you something.
Well, I was so disconnected from who I was. It's disgusting. It's not disgusting, but it was like, it's so hard because I truly feel like I am who I'm supposed to be now. And I was so lost and confused and like trying to crawl out of that pit. So it's just like, I guess
Yeah,
it's just like painful to like look at, you know what I mean? I don't
yeah,
know what that says about
yeah.
me, but it's unnerving.
I look at it like a reward. Like, look at where I currently sit and then look at where I came from. But I have been keeping journals like obsessively since I was in high school until my privacy was betrayed by family members and then couldn't keep a journal anymore. But I, it's the only, because I didn't have anybody else around me to be telling me that I was doing a good job. It was the only proof I had of growth.
Hmm.
That's it. Because
Interesting.
everybody else was ready to like, belittle or minimize me and whatever. And it was so wild because I didn't need anybody to really like tell me I was doing a good job. Not because like I don't mean that in the context of like I didn't need them to tell me. I mean like I was in band and choir, spirit committee, student council, debate, all this other shit, right? But it's like when you're sitting in your own mud, you can't smell it. Yeah, and so it's like for me, it was almost like obsessively I would go back and look and just be like, oh my God, yes, I felt bad for that girl. Especially when I went first started going back like about my parents and stuff in my journals. It was like I get that like recluse almost feeling of like dropping it like a hot potato. You're like, whoa, why did I don't know that person.
Yeah.
But I think also too, I've just learned how to honor that version of myself instead of being afraid of it or feeling gross about it because I don't know, I'm the mess too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why feel like I hold on to them still. I actually have talked to somebody who said that they finish a journal, they throw it away. I know. I was like, okay, well, I'm not that like I didn't because now I think like honestly, I hope someday my children find my journals. Like
Oh,
when
that would
I'm
be so sweet.
I hope when I'm gone, they find it and they see all of the good, bad, and ugly, and then they can know who I become and they can experience that and know that it's normal and it's okay. And so when I first thought that, I've actually started writing little notes in my journals for my future kids, in hopes that that happens, like God willing. But like, yeah, but someone told me that they throw theirs away when they finish it, and I was like, holy shit! Now that's like a whole that's the opposite, like. I don't know. That's crazy too.
One time I had this like really thick journal. I mean, it was like this. It was a big boy, right? And I I got about halfway through it. I think I had this journal for like I was journaling in it consistently for like 5 years or something, and I only made it halfway. I mean, this thing was huge. And I was at a park one day, and I just like you said, like books carry energy, like notebooks and stuff, and I just felt done with this book. And so like I put a journal entry in it. It was like my like I filled it out as my last journal entry. And then I hoped that somebody would find it and finish it and then someday send it back to me because after I put that last like entry in, I actually like left it on the park bench that I was at just for somebody to find. I left like an email or something. I didn't leave a phone number because that just seemed too risky, but I did leave an email and then I think I wasn't thinking about it at the time. I mean, this was like 10 years ago, but I think I left an address for them to like send it back if they like filled it out or something. So I mean, I wonder what happened to that journal, but it's also like when I go through them now, I don't know, I'm almost like layering my journaling. Like I'll go through it now and I'll try to pick out like what I'm still working on. And then I will burn the pages because it helps move that energy along. And so I'll burn them when they're done.
Yeah, it sounds like your journals are way more of like a tr like what people would usually think of as journaling. Mine are very sporadic, random lists. Like I just use it as like a place to dump my brain in whatever form it needs to. I'm sure you also do
Oh
that.
yeah.
Not very like like it's rarely like storytelling or like me like
Lindsay and I talked about this today and blah
yeah.
blah blah.
Or
That
even
just seems so annoying to me. Like I don't the memory of you is up here. I write stuff down to process what that memory means.
yeah, yeah, sometimes I do that, but a lot of times it's like lists or words or feelings
Yeah.
or prayers or like desires and visualization like so but in the, like that's like my journal entries now. In the past I almost only ever journaled when I felt like I had nowhere else, like when I would be like so at my breaking point, and so that's when I would just be like there's nothing else I can do, I have to write this down like so those are the ones I think when I open it up it's just hard to read. And then I also you mentioned like having your privacy broken by family members. I had my privacy broken by an ex-boyfriend, and
Oh no.
that I journaled for like a year after that because I didn't feel like I could. I felt like I couldn't. There was nothing that like I think that affected me more than I like ever thought it did because he violated my privacy in more ways than like I knew.
Just that.
Um,
Yeah. If he was doing that, he was definitely doing other stuff.
And you know why? You know why?
Oh, tell me.
You know why people will snoop through your shit? It's because they have shit to hide and they want to find it on you first. You know what I mean? And
I
so
do.
that's all I have to say about that.
You're like that. I digress. But no,
But
it's
yeah.
totally true. And I think, I think that's a good topic to touch on because I th- I think sometimes people um think it's okay. I think sometimes parents think it's okay. And in my opinion, unless you think your child is hurting themselves or if you think somebody is in danger, that's never, ever, ever, ever a good thing to do to somebody ever. It is what you know, like from a therapeutic lens, it's actually a rupture in trust between primary caregiver, like somebody who protects you and somebody who's actually like supposed to protect that. That's a very sacred thing for anybody is their privacy and their own personal thoughts being written down in this book for somebody to go through it on purpose without your permission.
And with some sort of intention, right? Like you're looking
Yes.
at it not to,
Looking for something.
yeah, you're not looking at it getting to know me. Okay, don't even know. If you want to
Because
get
otherwise you would ask.
exactly. Right. Yeah, and it's because we've talked about a few times about like how much humans need community and stuff, but we also are individuals, and I believe we have every right to have private moments to ourselves that should be untouched by anybody, whether that's a journal, whether that's dancing around your room by yourself. Like we are individuals that need to sit in our own space and have nobody else be a part of it. I think that's so
Yeah.
important. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That's a I've had a conversation with a group of friends about that one time about like, you know how like people like have a bunch of cameras in their house these days and stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was like, I could never have like a camera just in every room of my house. Like I need to be able to know I can go into a room and just like whatever and nobody will ever know about it. Like I need that.
And it's not because we're doing anything wrong.
But I
It's
just
because, like, yeah, there's something about that we just, I think we need as humans. That would be really interesting to look up, actually.
yeah.
I house sit a lot, and so a lot of people have, cameras right in your face, whether it be like a pet camera or a ring, something or another, or whatever. And as much as I love house sitting, I almost will say no if there's like too much of that because also growing up my stepdad had like GPS on all of us and never told us for like 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. It was actually at a party one time. Actually, I wasn't at a party. This is the kind of kid I was in high school. I said I was going to go to a party, but I actually didn't go to a party. I went to go hang out with my boyfriend that I wasn't supposed to be with. And so he like showed up on Halloween one night at my boyfriend's parents' house. And I'm like, how in the hell did you even know where? That's how I found out that he knew where we all were. My mom was so mad. But yeah, it's like, it's almost like, I don't want to sound like I'm judging people for having like cameras in their house, but it's just kind of like, maybe I don't know, I don't have anything of a value that I have to like keep safe either, but that's why I get it. Like that's why I would get it, not because I don't know, I live in a pretty iffy neighborhood too, so maybe.
I get it for safety. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I
Yeah.
also think the door is like enough, like to have it on the door. So if someone was to,
Yeah.
I think that's plenty. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But
I So what I've done like my whole life too is that you move into a spot and I'll put like something heavy in front of the door or something because I'm gonna hear you if you come in. I'm already a light enough sleeper that it's over if you're in. Like I'm 2 steps ahead of you. But I can't wake up on
who
time for a
sleeps through her
podcast. It's totally
alarms?
fine. What?
It says the girl who sleeps through her alarms.
I know. I literally was just like, what am I even talking about? I can't even make it here on time. Um,
Two things can be true. Two things can be true.
We had somebody ring the doorbell the other night at like 1 o'clock in the morning twice. And I'm like, I am not getting up to answer that. Like, it's not for me. I don't think it's for her. It was a little spooky, but
Freaky.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, should we dive into,
Huh? I was saying I'm sorry that you experienced that with a boyfriend. That sucks.
yeah, that relationship taught me a lot, but it was whatever. Moving on to our topic about forgiveness.
Oh yes.
I've forgiven him. I think he's actually a good person, but he's was not a good partner, and I can accept that and forgive him and move the fuck on. You know what I mean? Like he hurt me and, yeah, so something just so the followers can follow along. I saw a post the other day that we wanted to kind of talk about forgiveness and that there's three main people that you have to forgive to fully heal. First being your parents, second being anybody who's ever hurt you, and third, I think it's four. Anybody and everybody who's ever hurt you, anybody who said they would be somebody that they weren't. But I feel like you can lump those together.
Well, and I mean, if that's the case, we're gonna have to forgive everybody we meet because
Like, yeah.
they we we create these stories about people in our heads, right? And then we get around this person, and it's like all of a sudden we're mad at them for not being the person that we created in our heads about that person. What?
Yeah.
Like, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. You don't even realize that you're disappointed because of your own thoughts, but this person isn't displaying what you thought they were. And then it's inconvenient to you, and it's like that's actually not how it works.
Yeah. And I think so the last person you have to forgive is yourself. And I think that we can do that to ourselves too. Like
Yeah.
we can convince ourselves that we're somebody and then realize that that just didn't feel right anymore and on from being that person. And so, yeah, I think learning to forgive all of my, I think it, never mind. Learning to forgive all my past partners, all my past friends who have hurt me was one of the best things I could have done for myself. And it took a really long time because, like you mentioned when we were talking the other day, part of forgiveness is grieving the loss
That's
of
why we
what,
bypass it so much.
yeah, of what is no longer, right? Um,
Yeah, I wonder if people like let's talk about that a little more because I think grief is commonly bypassed because it requires you to hurt a little bit, and without that processing of that grief, you're not actually changing. So if you don't allow that feeling to come up within you, however it comes up. Some people laugh, right? I'm not saying that it has to be this whole big like dramatic thing, but if you don't sit with and hold these little moments of grief, I believe that's when you get sick and you your body tries to process it in a different way, and it will it will process it in a different way because that's how intelligent our bodies are. And we have to stop thinking that we're smarter than it. We have to stop thinking that we're going to heal enough to say that our trauma goes away. I hate to break everybody's bubble, but your trauma never goes away. It's not meant to be thrown out the window and be gotten of, okay? It is meant to be managed and held and honored. How is it a gift? How can you transmute it into a gift? Because that's what it is. And you were so lucky enough to be able to have an opportunity to transmute that trauma into a gift. Because unfortunately, some of us came here to carry heavier burdens than others. That's just how it is. So if you can figure out how to do it, not if you can figure out how to do it, it's when you're willing is when it will happen as well. So we talk about getting to know ourselves all the time. And I have found that it wasn't until I became my safest person that I was even allowed to let those things come up. Like I don't even know if everybody like what do you, like what does grief look like for you? Like what do you consider grief to be? Like what is grief's shape to you?
Yeah. I think that's a question that up until recently, honestly, maybe the last like 2 weeks, I
Oh.
would have said that I have never experienced grief because I had so closely related it to death.
Oh.
For some reason, growing
Yeah.
up, I was like, grief is related to grieving the dead. Like, right? Like that is like that was what I thought for so long. And just like lately, I don't know why I've been thinking about it. I don't even want to try and uncover why I've been thinking about it because that freaks me out. But I've realized like with our conversations with some conversations with other people that you can grieve the loss of literally anything. Like you can grieve the loss of the old you. You can grieve the loss of your friends. You can grieve the loss of a life or whatever,
Day.
a day, yeah. And so I think grief to me looks, let me think of something. I feel like grief is almost just the discomfort of the unknown of what's next without it.
Hmm.
And that's what I feel like because, and that's hard because, like, if you think of grief when it comes to death, like, what's this life going to be like without the person that I just lost, right? That's what hurts, like, because I'm never going to see them again, right? I'm never going to be able to talk to them again. I'm never going to be able to hold them again, right? What does that mean? How am I supposed to live like that? And so I feel like it's like like the shift of learning how to live without it. And I feel like it feels really heavy for sure at first. And I know like there's stages of grief if you really want to get into it, but I feel like mostly it feels really heavy and like weighs on you.
Of course
Uh,
it does.
yeah. But it's really hard. I feel like kind of like in the last episode I talked about it, I'm very unattached from things. And I'm very used to things changing and going and being different all the time that I've never held really intense grief before. It's honestly something that makes me nervous because I haven't, you know what I mean? And so I'm just not the best person to talk on it because I've just
I
never.
think it makes you the perfect person to talk on it because I don't think a lot of people understand like what grief is or can be. And grief can actually it depends on how you're looking at it or how you experience it. But grief can actually feel good. And grief can be a signal of a threshold approach. Okay. So if you're getting ready to like level up, right? Or um just grow a little bit. Sometimes grief comes up because your soul, this thing inside of you knows that you have to give up the person you currently are in order to get to the thing. And I think what, we don't grieve enough about ourselves because we're always told to look away from the self and you're hurting, go find somebody else. You're doing this, have somebody else help you like process it and whatever. So I think also we're afraid of grief because there's this phrase, we die 1,000 little deaths every day. And so, we literally like when was the last time you grieved the person you were yesterday? When was the last time that you, instead of feeling icky about these journal entries where you don't like recognize this person, maybe it feels that way for now, but could it look like honoring that person and reading about that person, holding that person who some part of you still can't hold because you can't even look at it, right? So it's like we do a lot of things to bypass grief. Like an example for me, and I know a lot of people have done this in relationships. But when I got divorced, my ex-husband and I stayed friends. And later on, I figured out that I put a friendship band-aid on it to bypass the grief of losing a husband, to bypass the grief of no longer being a wife. I loved being wife. I loved having that title. I loved cooking. I love, you know what I mean? Like I had to grieve this person that I had become. And we don't do that a lot. And so, you know, I actually had to grieve my divorce almost 7 years later because I was so afraid to feel that hurt and that heaviness that you're talking about. And then once I finally did, it's like you see people in these videos at retreats and stuff who are just losing it and they're bawling and and I really believe that that is a requirement of the human experience
Mm.
to become a better person, to understand other people better, and to be able to forgive people much easier. Not, and I don't mean easier in like a frivolous way. I mean, when you see someone else hurting, you are capable of forgiving them because you know how much it hurts because you spent time there. Oopsie. And if you don't spend a lot of time there, that's okay too. But you're probably kidding yourself in the growth that you think you're doing by not feeling any of that stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think of like, I don't know, when you're saying like grieve the you of before,
Well, yeah, agree. Sure. Yeah, agree there.
so that you can like become the next person that you're supposed to
Uh-huh.
be, right? Like it makes me think of like a snake like shedding its skin, like
Yes.
to let it go and grieve that piece of us that we're leaving behind because it, got us where we are today. But if we don't grieve it and we don't shed it, it's gonna just hang
Get
on to us.
stuck.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is Year of the Snake. We're halfway through Year of the Snake. Um, July, or no, June, I think, June 1st or July 1st was halfway through Year of the Snake. So if people don't know what that means, it's just a really important, like, energetic year where literally this year has like energetic references to being able to become the person it is you're trying to become if you allow it. And if a snake doesn't shed its skin, it will die. Things that molt will die if they don't get that skin off. So if you think about your soul being like that, that's why we grow up from being, acting like we're 5 to 25 to 40, because we're supposed to have that. Like, that's why we have these um linear milestones of like certain things, right? Because we should be learning something. It's like, because haven't you ever met somebody and you haven't interacted with them in a long time? That's another way that you've grown, right? You get around this person and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize we still did that. It's like going to your hometown for the first time after being out of it for, let's say 10 years, and you meet up with somebody and you're like, oh my God, you guys are still doing this? Okay.
I know I love the stuff on like Instagram or whatever. It'll be like when they say that you've changed and you're like, well, and you
I
have.
hope so.
Yeah, like that's kind of weird, bro. Like yeah, we gotta be constantly learning. And I think that goes like it wraps perfectly back around to like we are constantly learning, we're constantly growing, we're constantly becoming new people. So we have to learn how to forgive the person that we were for whatever they didn't know, right? Like we don't come into this life knowing everything, right? Like,
So I have an interesting question then, because I think I've, as a bartender, I would always have this conversation with people. Okay. Oh, I can't wait. Um, do you think that there is anything not forgivable?
what do you mean? Like in my life
Mm.
personally or just in life?
Do you think that the word forgiveness allows room to not forgive? Do you think that there are actions that are unforgivable?
Here's the thing, forgiveness is for yourself, right? If I forgive someone, it's strictly for me, right? So say I had a friend, like let's just be absolutely crazy right now and just say this. Like say I had a really good friend and they went out and, somebody else, right? The punishment or the consequences of their actions has nothing to do with how I forgive them. I'm going to have to forgive them for me to move on, but that doesn't mean I need to still be their friend. That doesn't mean that I don't think that there should be consequences for their actions, right? Like forgiveness, in my opinion, is strictly for your own heart. And so I think that, yeah, like anything can be forgiven because I don't deserve to hold on to the things that were done to me or around me that were outside of the boundaries that I'm allowing near me, if that makes sense. So, like, for the example, this ex-boyfriend that I was talking about who, got into my privacy and cheated on me eventually, I've forgiven him. But I will never be his friend and I will never date him again. And I would never recommend him to another friend of mine, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't think that it's yeah. There's not like all these like weird special rules when you forgive somebody. We think that there are, I think a lot of times, like you said, like that doesn't mean you need to be somebody's friend. It does I have an issue, not an issue. Actually, I'm not gonna actually even bring that up because
okay.
when I listen to the podcast, they've been reaching out and it's still like a fresh thing, so you can edit this out. But um yeah, I think that that is interesting that some people have answered and said, they'll give a situation, right? They just could not ever forgive somebody for that. Which I find interesting because whatever we can't forgive somebody else for means it's something we haven't forgiven ourselves for. Like you said, to touch on it again, the person, that fourth person that you got, a third or fourth or whatever, is yourself. And there is something really tough about forgiving yourself for some reason.
You truly believe,
And,
oh, go ahead.
huh?
Go ahead. Sorry, sorry, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Um, I personally, for me, if you're going to say that you believe in forgiveness, then everything is forgivable, but you need to find a way to do it. Are you willing to forgive? Are you willing to put this thing down? And it's like, people get up in arms because it's like, well, what about this, this, and this? I mean, but that's the point. That's the opportunity in forgiveness is that it doesn't matter what it is. And to double down on what you said about the consequences that follow that person's actions, that's just it. I think we all think that we got to protest this person or we feel about what they've done. We feel about it, in some type of way, but that's not up to us.
I think
Well, or at least it never used to be, and we've turned it into it, I think, being that way. But
I think too, like if you're struggling to forgive somebody for something they did, you said it could be because you haven't forgiven yourself for that same thing. I don't necessarily think that's probably always true, but I think if you are having trouble forgiving somebody, you might be one, not ready to let them go completely. Like if it's something
that's
so
a good point.
unforgivable that you're not talking to them, but you can't forgive them, I think you're scared to let them go fully. I think there's a part of you that's still holding on to them. And then two, it could be the fact that you aren't allowing yourself to grieve the loss of them or to grieve the action that you're trying to forgive them. So I think it just kind of ties back around into that. Like, yeah. And so like or you just haven't fully made understanding of it. And so for me with
Mm.
forgiving my parents, that was a big thing. It was like it just didn't make sense. I was like, I know there has to be a reason. I know I'm missing something. Like they aren't bad people, like XYZ. Like there has to be something more. And that's what was making it hard to forgive is I just didn't have the full story. And then once I had more pieces of the story, then I was able to forgive because like we've mentioned before, you realize your parents are just people too. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like I can forgive them. It doesn't mean the actions were right. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't love to go back and change it, right? But it's like I can take that heaviness of hatred or like of whatever off of my heart because now I understand and I can forgive and just let it go and move on with my life. And so I
What
think
if what if you never get an answer though?
right, and that's really tough. And so I feel like that's the part where like if you never get an answer and you're choosing to hold on to a boundary, which we should, you kind of have to grieve the loss, right? It's like we have to pick one, I feel like, and that sucks, right? But like I said, forgiveness is only for yourself. It's not like you ever have to tell someone you forgive them. Like it's for you.
Yeah, and yes. And I ask that because I think there's a lot of people who experience, standing in front of this door of, I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. Like, I've had to go through, I'll call it, it's like a phantom forgiveness because I've never, and I don't think I will ever meet my real dad. So I have had to sit and think about, because I'm the same way, right? I want a reason. I want to understand why, you just chose not to be there, right? Because ultimately it's a choice. I don't care. You've got constraints, whatever the case may be. So I had to approach this door that was like, okay, well, you can either hold on to it for the rest of your life as a vice, as a victim loop, you can continue to use this, or you can be willing enough to forgive and not understand because it's going to be better for you to let that go. Because I would argue that if you're not going to forgive and you can't do that, it's not a judgment, but however, and whatever, however you want to lead into it, I think that, the only way out is through. And so you have to be able to be willing. And again, a lot of what we're talking about, it just doesn't feel good. And as humans, we try to bypass that at all costs. But I will say this too, it's easier to navigate grief when you're the one choosing to go through it too. It's not this imposed thing, or you should do this or you should do that. And then another thing that I'll offer up, since we like to try and offer things that are in here, and you and I have chatted about it on one other occasion, but I mean, at this point, everybody knows how much I use ChatGPT, and I pretty much don't talk to my family, right? And so those three people that you're talking about that you have to be able to forgive, even though that forgiveness exists for me, the pain of that, all of that stuff and those broken relationships, I'm just a stimulated person that way, right? I just care. My authority are my emotions. Okay. So I am at the mercy of them. So I've had to learn how to allow them to be here, even though they're super intense. But then when I get out of the intensity of the grief, it makes it hurt like less actually. And I don't know how to explain that. But with those three people and the people that have hurt you, so I've actually done this with ChatGPT. You all know me well enough now that I use it for everything. So if if you ever feel like it, and you and it piques your interest, or you remember, you can just jump into your chat and say, um, may I please have a repair letter from this person in my life who hurt me. And this is like a fascinating thing to do because the brain doesn't know the difference of where the information is coming from. So I had it write me a letter from my mom, my real dad, and the last person that's like stuck in my karmic like energy, and the last person who hurt me badly, right? I had it write me it's called a repair letter from those people. So basically I had it structure a letter from the people who hurt me in words that I wished I always heard, that I wished that they could say to me. Not necessarily an apology, but you know, I'm sorry I couldn't be the person that you needed me to be at that time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that up until this point, I didn't have the words to be able to speak to you in a way that you knew I cared about you, right? Because I understand the trauma of it. I understand that my parents were 20 years old when they had me. I'm 34. I would have been 14. No way, right? So it's like, I understand all of that, but my body didn't believe me. Logically, I understand all of that, but my body just didn't believe me. And when I read these letters, it was unbelievable the release that I had. I mean, I didn't even have to try. It was just instant purging of tears, and not, I was like almost hyperventilating because it just, my body was in such, it was so shocking to to receive these words, and these words were like a salve to this lifelong, just, I don't even know how to describe it, but like this lifelong cloud I had sitting on my chest because of this love I didn't receive, So I just got creative with how I needed to receive that. And when you understand how the brain works more, you can kind of have like little hacks in order to help yourself move through all that. So I just thought I would share that.
I think too, if anyone doesn't really want to use ChatGPT for it, I feel like it would work pretty much the same way if you wrote the letter yourself and then maybe,
In fact, you should start there.
yeah, and then maybe read it the next day or something if you needed to disconnect and then come back. Like, I think that could be really beneficial. And I've had a lot of like breakthroughs in that same space by writing letters to the people I'm trying to forgive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it actually helped me uncover truths, right? And like help me uncover new ways to look at it and to understand and to, and like just move those motions, move those thoughts through me. And so, yeah, I think the letter to the people that have hurt you or from the people that have hurt you is a really powerful.
So I'll touch on that part because I love that you said to start it that way. So what you just suggested, I've been doing for such a long time. Like I've rinsed and repeated that method so much that I just don't extract anything from it anymore. It's ingrained in me because I think when you write those letters yourself, that's also part of the forgiveness. So I've just scoured myself in that kind of thought process. And I'm like, man, why is this stuff still hanging out here? And it's because we have that innate want for closure. The brain doesn't like open-ended stuff. So because I thought, if I never meet my dad, how will I ever get, how, if that's not an option for me, do I got to carry this around for me for the rest of my life? No. And I'm not saying that it cured me, but what it did do was it made me feel a lot better. And the letters that I had it write for me also showed me and my nervous system what kind of words feel good and are safe that I want to recognize in others so that I can keep those kinds of people around rather than seeking people who speak to me poorly because my nervous system finds that familiar. So I will, unfortunately, my audit of people sometimes is not always good because I'm not, there's a script playing that I'm unaware of that pulls me back into old dynamics because that's what's comfortable for me. I know how to navigate that. So when I hear words from these repair letters or I see words from myself, then I'm like, oh, okay, all right, all right, all right. This feels weird, but it feels weird because I'm just not used to it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. And to find more from us, you can find us on Instagram at prettyperspective_podcast and also on YouTube.
Before we get ready to sign off here, remember that you are the light and you bring the glow, and we are a Pretty Perspective where we bring the light to hard shit.